Welcome to Dungeon Master. And I say it with an aggrievousness, for we were on level 45. So long that we felt it in its own demise of only adding 2 of these movies together, which is parlor enough to get us through where we need to go now that we're watching what is meant to be watched. It's Star Trek the video game, 2013, part 1. There's Spock, at least one of his. It's from the new version, it looks like, but that they're digital characters and probably somewhat ruled by AI metaphors and diametrics. We must not forget that those were put there by human, not to share what would happen in the story, but to more compose the direction of their character if they needed to at some point. Now, I'm not going to just teach you about AI. We are all going to learn about it on this show, Star Trek, which everyone knows that ST is TS backwards and that T.S. Eliot started transcendental sedentariness. We must easily say T.S. Eliot was aboard the Star Trek of his mind long before there was... Oh, what am I saying? I'm not allowed to give away where we are. This mission has taken us down roads where we never thought we'd go. It's like a big step for us to even get out the ship, you know. And we're still somewhere in the film. And I don't understand how you could even make a film like this and then still call it a movie and then defend yourself with exterior ultra codes. Well, what is it going to be? Am I the wizard or the warrior? Come on now. Jeez, these guys are leaving me cold in the blind. I hate these dungeon master guys. But we will only be here for moments which will seem alive for you and milliseconds which seem to skip. No step in particular down the runway of life, and that we are back in the saddle and playing a very important participle of this game, Star Trek the video game, and that there is a lot going on more than seems the merry. Means we're going to have to skip here and hope it wasn't too far ahead. Now that we're fighting someone else's ship is very grievous now, and that there's some kind of mud bolting fire chain that can melt these robots is real scary, but that we've morphed right into the middle of Star Trek somewhere, somehow, and that we're still in Star Trek mode, and even though we're seeing like these strange beasts of courage, the video game goes on because you're still in form, you're still your character, you're still there. You're coming to save the day, you need a little time, you have to make some money, these things cost. You have to make money to save the day. I mean, isn't that the theme of most capitalistic shows, even though Star Trek was a little on the La Boheme side, right? Am I wrong? Because they're all in a kind of in a commune, you know, living in outer space. I don't know, the Enterprise could be another word for commune. I'd have to look that up. I don't really think left wing. I mean, the guys were Jewish, and left wing and Jews don't always go together. So I don't really know what I'm saying, like in terms of y'all hearing me about this. But really, the point is that like we're all in a mixing pot. We all got to get together. We all read our Hitchhiker's to Dungeon Master's Guide. And if there's ever words used that are wrongfully used, words that shouldn't be used ever, you can report in and we'll take the episode down, or we'll take the episode, fix it, and put it back up. We'll do whatever you want, because we're not stingy with how we get credit shared to us for these such adventurous YouTube videos, and we share them back to you on YouTube, and it's a beautiful thing, and we love YouTube. On this Valentine's Day, give YouTube a happy Valentine, because those guys are awesome, man. They've gotten me through a lot. I must say that these games look quite more like dungeons than dungeon master immerses in the new dungeon that is opening before his eyes are closing. He gets into the dungeon realm and goes straight under the pieces of metal that are above his head just enough, and that he's lost in the realm of the very dungeon things we do dungeony. And there it is, the space station where we've all intended to go. And they were saying that this had more to go on it. Well, I can't imagine how it would have any more to go on it than this. But that we've barely made it anywhere is quite a reckoning of Star Trek in nature. And that now we're getting this very cool Rocky Mountain kind of video. We'll just pass that up. We probably work for half those people, okay. Oh, and now we're back on an even further quest to see if we're even on a different one, and if we're on the same wall item length. No, it looks to be different. It looks to be different. That they're made of a different... Oh, no, it is to be the same. There we go. There we go. Now we're shredding tourage. Something looks like the ship is on fire and about to crash, and it looks really cool like that because it's a video game version of it, and now it's smashing and crashing around. What just landed? Is this the beginning of part 2? Is this what we were missing from the canon of Star Trek? These several Star Trek movies could cause the whole Star Trek legend to continue in infamy. I can't believe you're giving these secrets away. Where did you find these hidden files on the internet? Were you here once before? Did you ever delve through the things that Star Trek, the video game, was supposed to give us to us all if we knew how to play it just right? And that it seems to be like the very module game engine Star Trek used to run on is about the same except updated from how he goes from what he needs to do ideal to ideal, and whether that's an action or a command or a repositioning of his character for visual perception. And I think it's important also to note that this Synth Up could make a bit more of the caginess of how real it looks. And the closer you look on these, the realer it looks. And now you've got these 3 guys totally looking real. And if we had just sacked the frame and made it this the whole time, I don't think anyone would have complained. But we are here, and we're here to catch weird messages. Now I know how to build one of those. Now I know how to build one of those. Okay, that's cool. You can teach me all you want. Give me your blueprints. I'm in on them. I'm down. But you got to understand that I am keeping some of those blueprints for myself because there are some good ones now. Just give them to some other dude. All right, so the scepter is the scepter of light, and it shines quite lightning like itself. Yeah, I think we're going to be groovy. Oh, you know what? It's Valentine's Day, Captain, and I don't think you're ready for it because we haven't sent any females to the planet in a while. Damn it, this video game has no chicks on it. This video game has no chicks on it, does it? I think I've seen a couple, but I don't remember where they were. Don't know how to get to them in time. Don't even know why I'm telling you. I could be anywhere but here right now, and it's Valentine's Day, and this is really starting to slog me out, man. Again, I'm not saying I'm totally wounded that I can't get knocked down, I get up again, you know, but the thing is this is a rough dismantle into finding anyone. Okay, hello, never mind, I wasn't going to say anything bad. Oh, you're gotten off there? Well, we're getting off here too. This is a good one. Well, I'll talk to that chick later. I got an adventure to solve because it's more important for us to solve the adventure than to go with the chick, because then we'd be relegated to slaves of whatever it is we are selling. which is a lot, and that there's a 10-minute pasture on this plain and simple demure. And if you think there are things to come and themes to go that really will instate where we used to be leaguer. And this is back when we're in the hallway. But now we come across and merger there. Now, the reason I'm getting here is because once you get off the box, you see, you get into this equation that looks pretty rare and looks pretty far into the game, but actually is halfway into the game, which is pretty far into the game. The game of Star Trek, the video game, and we thank them for showing us down the halls of mutant heresy, of all the things that came crawling onto the ship they've had to destroy, like tribbles. You just say the word tribbles at the Decipher Hospital and something will change about the image. I don't know what it is, but it's like an AI that... Yes, see, I knew something would trigger that. And that we're all back again, happy. Yes, we're happy again. Although I need sunglasses or something, or shades to see in this dungeon better. That fire is pressing me out the light. It's pressing out the light, and that things are shattering in here. It looks a little CSI-ish, but no, it's Star Trek. We're cool. We're cool. It's new Star Trek. We got the verve. You see my disco dancing around the Knights Table of the Round? Yeah, best get it, bro. Alright, now I'm going to go up here, dismantle this drone before it disintegrates me, because it's set to do that if I ever go across this bridge. But first I got to talk to my homie. Hang on, disintegrator. I'll be with you. Oh, I got it anyway. It's pulled out of there. Whoa, what's this, a tank? I'd be jumping in that normally. But I better get across it because it formed a bridge. I've seen something like that before. Oh, something Star Trekian about that bridge. That I built the bridge while I was on it. Makes no sense. Where are we in this game? We should have shuffled up to the right. Like somehow it shuffled away and we forgot where the patterns were to the actual image. And now we go round the scone, back in front. That it is hard to see what we're dialing up, and that the images do change in a crossways makes it seem as though there are, in fact, images to this game. That was a scary sequence and must be magnet up, because we don't want to always see him get out, and we're going to anything that doesn't deal with well, I guess we can have a little bit of the desire of bliss and esteem, and that these missions we go on are for some reason, and that we're saving our games and saving our power and saving our distance and shooting at things that are already there and making a very big game out of this salutatorial game, which is always repeating our action command and giving it what we execute to. That something tells me we've got a really interesting follow-up after this commercial. Everybody buy that. Everybody buy that. Now, if he sticks it in its mouth and then shoves it to the side, oh, I see what's going on. He gets into the realm of the dungeon. Whenever he goes further into the spaceship, I get it. But is that where he keeps all of his diagrams? Is on the Enterprise? And is that the ship he's flying? Because this is one hell of an Enterprise. I mean, it reminds me of those games we played of Star Trek ancient ago. And that we could have chose this as the very portal to unleash where we were needed to determine where to go. I would have chosen this anyway. As the things were winding down, however, and I did think it would be good if we stayed somewhat upon this particular dragnet, and that I hadn't thought much about doing it this way, but might as well find a steady pace to getting an up-close shot, because while my voice does tend to be a little less dungeon mastery, only because I have recently successfully coughed up a lung while smoking pot. And Dungeon Master, that's how he gets his deep Dungeon Master voice. My Dungeon Master. It's a smoker voice. Come on now. We all know what Dungeon Master really sounds like, and that he's been in these dungeons pushing the envelope forward and getting through where he needs to get through. I'm really proud of Dungeon Master for all that. He's come a long way. I mean, he's really drilled it forward. He's really bonded it with space and time that he can just keep continuing the way he is. Because, and Star Trek, by the way, is usually never this exciting, but usually way more exciting, actually. That's about the excitement level you get out of all of it, but this one has quite a feeling of adrenaline rush in some respects. It seems as though there's a kind of outburst of energy occasionally that surprises you while watching this game across its hinges as it flies us down the dungeon of the Star Trek dungeon. And the Star Trek dungeon is one to be allowed only because we've never tried this before, and we will send it to the Apocrypha of Facebook for a test, foreknowing that it could be allowed on Facebook, and that is really cool. But we're going also for our friends here that are broadcasting this to us. Oh, our friends that broadcast to us, do we now broadcast through you? Amen, 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 amen. So now, if you look at this character, he's out in front still. He's really been taking the charge most of the game, if not the whole game, if not whatever game we've been watching. And that he's still stuck in a lot of dark places isn't helping for his blind spot to come unveiled on these potions that are right next to him that now are what? Too expensive. Now, the order to the screen makes for a standard of saying, why don't we just stay and do this? Because that would be the easiest shot to get, because it's a slow pullback, unfortunately, on Dungeon Master, only because you have to reposition the text of the wisdom underneath it every once in a while when the drag or pull of the scene is downed or upped. And I'm downing it. And it goes back up. So now, we don't know where we are. We don't know what we're doing. This is the Star Trek video game, so that's a good start. We don't know where we are, what we're doing. We might be on board a ship that looks like we're below a ship and just blew a door open. And open door. How I do want you to just fly open for me. Out, flew open for me. Here I go. Oh, they're throwing grenades. I'm out of here. Well, I ducked quick, man. Duck soup otherwise. Let's get out of here, Compton. Do I hear you? Oh, we barely made it, man. That electric fire, that was crazy. Did you see that? Back there, hey, here's your sign. You just almost got hit by electricity. That wouldn't have been the first time. Let's get out of here. Yeah, we'll jump off the roof. The roof is on fire. Okay, I'm catching other things on the way down. We're good. We're down. Why do you always gotta be down? Just kidding. All right, we're back in action here. Oh, man, you guys make me realize that this is all like practically one big AI adventure, right? Because everything Dungeon Master's friends, like the warrior, me, I'm the warrior. Everything I've been saying is totally proof and partial to this game hasn't even been made yet. Or if it has, this is the only way to play it because it'll take you right to the end. And this guy's done some running around. Let's all hear it for Star Trek the video game because it's the bomb, dude. And I couldn't have even gone to minute 25 without him, and I don't even know if I'll make it that far. We'll see how far we can go. Who says we hang in there for the video game experience of a lifetime that will also be some kind of lost cartoon on a channel somewhere? But maybe not that lost. Oh, you make ridiculous mountains out of molehill constantly. The game is just loading. Calm down. And these guys are wondering what they should have in their sandwich today is pretty much what they're up to, and it's not even important to follow these chains of the time that we do desire on to get it with the creation that we have. And I think that if we're on to get what creation we can have, then we're formulating a way to use fire flowers as the ones to keep our energetic memories tapped up against in case we have somewhere to travel to outer space. And that's a good way to, use where you need to know to go in outer space is by electroshocking yourself. I could see that. You might have a reverse effect, an adverse effect, but not in Star Trek Vale. Let's go. We get shot by phasers all the time and live. Let's go. Because we can get hit by 3 phasers and be okay. The 1 phaser reverse knocks that thread through the jid. I didn't even care, man, because now we're going Lost Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master. I can feel the song building up. I can feel the song for Dungeon Masters everywhere. Dungeon Masters everywhere declare that this is, it's getting adventurous. It's a Threshold Guardian. If we can defeat this guy, we can gain a level. This is like a dragon. It's our first dragon in all of Dungeon Master. Well, maybe a third, a second, a fourth, but dragons have been spared during Dungeon Master, and that's not because we haven't used Skyrim yet, but wait, I gotta check the files. Have we used Skyrim yet? We may never. Spent too much time playing it, don't know if I can manage seeing sequences again in it. That almost makes me want to go right into SkyQuest. That makes me want to go into Skyrim. And we were going to have this whole game be nothing but Star Trek games. And I know that this isn't falling from the sky. But, well, I know this is slowing us down, and I know we can't move on, but I want to see some Skyrim, because I want to see if everything I know about Skyrim is wrong. And the reason is because I was so caught by that footage that we just had. And here's a commercial for you. Buy all that stuff, will be good. Now, there was something about Skyrim I had forgotten. That, first of all, that looked like a Dutch painting. Secondly, is this really Skyrim? Or is this a video for it? No, this really is it. And I'm very humbled to see what this graphics card looks like on this channel Dungeon Master that seems to get curer than the bee. I don't know what to say. I'm completely taken by these images. It's like I want to join in what they're doing right now. I, Dungeon Master, have never but seen characters and more characters like this that have risen from Skyrim history with all of their magic and all of their ways and all of the things which empower them to enter and divulge of buildings, that there they are, the fair tot, the fair animal. I don't know if everything we're seeing about Skyrim is completely what would lead you through, but we must focus on another. We must do something else with this. Well, that was a quick pace. See, now we're going through a more base Skyrim period, and it's like a Skyrim ad, which is what we were looking for. First was actually an advertisement for Skyrim, which that last one may have been, but this one's got herky-jerky film on it, and not showing Skyrim means we've come nowhere and to no such thing. And, well, I'm trying to find. Now, this is something we're going to show, is another commercial because we didn't know how bad we needed to get out of our first trip with Star Trek. But if you, beginner's guide to modding Skyrim, alright? We don't want to mod Skyrim, hang on. But now we know how to get there, everybody. This is really controversial. Alright, Dungeon Master fans, it's not over yet. Dungeon Master fans, I repeat, Dungeon Master fans, there had been a drop of the walkie-talkie ever since we got so far outside of the Star Trek of this episode that now we've been airing other people's logos to their movies, and we're about to get to ours, and we're on ours. And if you can just come with me a little while, you will see the things that I see as Dungeon Master are different from here to yours. And this is not the child of waking, but the child of looking that we must all praise in the decency of what it took you to get here. To get from one dungeon maze to another, and now you're on Dungeon Maze 46 and you don't know how you got there or what was eating at you the whole time. Well, can I challenge you to come farther with us? It's dark out there, I know, and these clobber things flying around me are not exactly of my willpower to adjust, but that they come shooting out like a ray of light is not even a problem. And this galactic battle is Aminin. And I like that because they're letting us use it so far, and we're deliberating between if we even have. We thank YouTube for all credits we're able to get, of course. But I don't think the owners would dismantle this particular one just because they know we're giving. This is a tribute. You gotta believe me. In case you weren't here, nobody heard you. It's just a tribute. You gotta believe me. The Dungeon Master is very pleased with where this took him to along the way. It's been a long go at getting anywhere on this game, and now we feel we've navigated somewhere close to the halfway point. And we will only give one more error to the next retake of where we are and what we were doing in this face of the real. That in the face of the real, we have the inspection of the navigator, who is going out on a limb to say, guess what, boys? Star Trek's gonna get you home. Everybody know how to spell Trek, right? I don't have to wreck it to get. Alright, please me. Hang on, we gotta go back. You didn't see anything, folks. We're dealing with. Well, you know what? There is someone wants you to know that there is a game out there. You know what? This is doing something, so we're going to follow it. I don't quite know what that meant when the computer was on loading just now, and we loaded for 4 minutes. You'll have to beg me to apologize for that, because now we're looking at it like it's the game it is, and that this is the prototype for the game is cool, but now we have to go to another stand And hopefully this is I'm sorry, the time lapse is taking a while on this. I'm gonna have to skip to one more. Alright, that was a mistake. I don't know what they were doing in that. It looked a little suspicious. I'm moving on. So, I didn't understand how Star Trek was even not represented by like a million commercials, because it's so commercial itself, but yet not. Normally, a Star Trek episode wouldn't have this many commercials and technical difficulties. That I myself have brought you those technical difficulties just to get you this far is not fair to your last 10 minutes that you've seen and now wondered what you were looking at. Now that we need to look into the visuals, designs of this screenplay that they're having in front of us is important. That I could see how even in 10 minutes, 15 minutes from now, we were still looking at this monitor, scraping back together what makes Star Trek work and why we love it so much and why everything should be Star Trek and how we got back to this safe haven of Star Trek footage to just bind us in our inner midst to Star Trek and never come back to Earth, except for in the movie version where they come back to Earth. And that these freeze frames are just beyond the ultimate prize of Star Trek. It says the shelf life in this business is usually 3 days. The first for 20 years is unheard of. Star Trek is a priceless asset, the potential of which mountain. Yeah, he said some nice things about it as a TV guy. But now we come to the Dungeon Master's favorite part, and that is, can you hang in with Dungeon Master? And the real trick is can you hang in with Dungeon Master? Now, I'm going to say that these are all different movies and all scattershot of the piecemeal montage that comes from these movies as scattered images of the different voyage that they took in outer space to get these things done. I know what you're thinking, but that wasn't the only thing that got him to where he was going, although it was played a big part, and that they're swinging bats at each other. I don't know what this is kind of retrospecting, but let's go closer. See, now that we go closer, we see through the guidelines of the creators of the show, who was so integral in creating this show, and that these guys were the ones behind making it, or meant they had to make it in such a way that they really appreciated. The retrospect and review were highly authoritatively accepted, and that there's more. There's more to go through. This might be the show which really doesn't do too much to our damage. Some of this show is beautiful. I like it. It's like a movie anyway. I'm so entranced. I got so entranced by Star Trek that I started watching other things besides Star Trek, and now it's pulled me back in. And I only have what I have, and that is this to you. Ready to ride it out with Dungeon Master, everyone? You want to ride it out with Dungeon Master? Let's ride it out. We've got features on our minds, and we play them all the time. You know, honestly, this isn't even the run of some of the other experiments we're doing right now. And I'm sorry, but that box shouldn't have been up right then. And now we've got the navigational sequestered. But we see it flying in outer space. It looks like they're going to pick up another episode and bring it in before we have any chance to analyze the previous others. That we're still here and still going is an apology to having so many technical difficulties that led us down the way of the next generation, that I think that the two bridges between the games and the movies didn't really bridge out when we left the realm of original Klingons and what they meant in terms of standard Klingons or non-Klingons or Klingon-Klingons or Klingon non-Klingons or non-Klingon Klingons. Or non-Klingon non-Klingons. There we go. I've named them all, really. So this, yeah, you just gotta trust me. I mean, we've made it this far. We didn't exactly get a level up, which I'd say was pretty tame, because we've struggled afar to get through here. And really, let's just let this be a memory of our good faith that the Lord will always be there for all of us. And oh, this is Star Trek. That is the Lord. I meant Star Trek will always be there for all of us. And that Star Trek binds us and it brings us together, and that we can just pray around Star Trek and just, even though they don't believe in God or prayer in Star Trek, because they are God and prayer in Star Trek, and everyone prays to them. That's what I was busy doing, because, I mean, we can only circulate the moon twice right now, right? And if we got back into the buggy, we'd be standing alone on some kind of like plane dialectic versus an unfallen robotic dialectic, which means we better bring it to a close. Star Trek fans. Star Trek fans, I don't want you to worry. There will be more Star Trek tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And we will find a way to get Star Trek playing on every screen, every place, everywhere. And we don't even know which episodes we're in or what she's talking about or where we've been to or what is the hustle before we were talking about. And some of those other scenes were so insidious and boring and wretched and not even jousting for, making you kind of feel a little sore about this whole event, but I suppose you can use it in your chunk bag to make a relaxer button out of, or whatever it is you intend to commercialize this while playing. I suppose we'll all be eating Cheetos, wondering why there were distractive units of psychological motivation and all of that, I felt. Oh well, I'll stay out of it. I'm not a psychologist, I'm just a Dungeon Master's assistant, and I came to turn this off. Thank you, goodbye.